Hey guys. Hey, I just got a couple of minutes here. I wanted to share something with you real quick, okay? Just finished up with a meeting with a DWI client, and prospective client came in, had a bunch of questions after they were trying to make a decision about what they wanted to do, and after they'd hired, they stopped. Before they made their way out the door, they stopped and they said, Mr. Hampton, does it matter what I said to the police officer? During my DWI arrest, he asked me some questions. I thought they were kind of weird. Does it even matter what I said? So that's what we're going to do today. I hope everyone's having a great day. Like I said, I wanted to take a few minutes to share some important information with you. I wanted to let you know that why does it matter what a police officer asks you? Does it matter if you gave answers to those questions, or does it matter if you ignored them? What can they do specifically with the answers to your questions if you spoke to a police officer during your DWI arrest? I'm going to explain the hidden motive behind why the police officers asked you those questions to begin with, and then we're going to talk about how it affects your case. Finally, some of you may say, well, what if I don't remember the answers that I gave? How do I know if it's going to affect it one way or the other? What if your answers didn't provide a direct answer to the question, or maybe you kind of moved in a different direction with that? Will it make your case better or worse to defend? We'll talk about that for a few minutes. Finally, if you'll stick around to the very end of this video, I'll give you a free download. It's the ultimate definitive guide on DWI Defense. I'll provide you a free ebook. It's a free ebook just for you, okay? Now, let's jump right in. So, why would a police officer ask you questions during a DWI arrest? Pretty simple on this one. Why would a cop ask you questions? To incriminate you, right? This is what they're trained to do. The only reason he would ask you a question during your arrest, during a DWI arrest, is to have you provide information that makes you look guilty, or to incriminate you, or to make you look like maybe you don't have the normal use of your mental or physical faculties. Now listen, don't be too hard on yourself if you answer their questions. If the officer asked you some questions, you want to be polite, you're a nice person, you want to be able to answer those questions. Plus, listen, you had no idea what your rights were at the time, so don't be too hard on yourself. Now, listen, if you had known your rights, what you could have told that police officer very nicely is you could have politely informed him that you would be happy to assist with any questions that he has after you've had a chance to consult with your DWI lawyer. You have a right to do that. Everyone has a Sixth Amendment right to counsel. Everyone has the ability to be able to consult with an attorney. Now, here's what would have happened. If you would have said that, the officer would have likely said, sir, at this time, you do not have a right to an attorney. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, that's debatable, but let me just tell you this. You don't have to answer any of their questions. The concern is you're not a lawyer. All you know is you don't know your legal rights. It's reasonable to say, I'd like to speak to my lawyer before I answer any questions. So it's important to understand that you're informed of your legal rights before you begin to talk to a police officer. So let's stop for a minute and let's look at two specific questions that I'm willing to bet you the police officer asked you, and let's figure out how that might affect your particular DWI case. Number one, what time was your last drink? Now, we've already identified the primary goal that the police officer would be asking you this for during your DWI arrest is to attempt to incriminate you. However, listen, there's something deeper on this one. The police are trained to ask you this specific question for a particular reason. They want to take the answer that you give to that question, what time was your last drink, along with maybe some other information that you might have given. What was your last, not only what was your last drink, how many drinks did you have, when did you last eat, a lot of other specific questions they like to ask you at the time. And here's what they want to do. There's a term called they want to extrapolate back in time. They want to extrapolate back in time to get a better idea of what your blood alcohol level might have been at the time you were driving. Now, I want to be real clear about it. That sounds confusing. I'm talking about a term called retrograde extrapolation. That's the term. Now, what does that really mean? In order to prove driving while intoxicated, you must prove that someone was operating a motor vehicle in a public place while intoxicated. Now, why does that matter? In other words, they have to prove that you were intoxicated at the time you were driving, not later at the time you may have given a breath or a blood test. That's critical. Now, how do they do this? Well, they attempt to gather some information from you, coupled with your breath or blood alcohol result that you might have given, or maybe they took from you on a compulsory blood draw. They want to take that information and try to equip a toxicologist to get on a witness stand and to be able to stand up there and say that they can extrapolate back in time to give an estimate of intoxication. Now, that's allowed in court. If they have that information, that's allowed in court. Otherwise, if they don't have that information, it is much less accurate and much less reliable for them to be able to say definitively, any expert to be able to say definitively, beyond a reasonable doubt, that you were intoxicated at the time of driving. So it's so very important. Now that may lead to you asking, well, how do we attack retrograde extrapolation? Is there a way that we can attack that? Well, of course, but a lot of it's going to depend on the facts of the case. Now listen, I'm giving you this information because I hope it assists you and gives you knowledge. If you need assistance with this process, we at the Hampton Law Firm will be happy to help you. You can call us at 817-877-5200. But if not, I want you to at least be equipped with this information so that you know what you're really dealing with, so that you understand why it's important. So understand, we need to see, did it take 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours from the time you were driving until the time they were able to get a sample of your blood? Especially with blood draws. Blood draws tend to take longer for them to be able to get that. So here's my point. The longer in time, here's when you were driving, the longer in time it is until they get a blood draw, the less reliable that blood draw is, because they have a harder time going back in time, being able to show that you were intoxicated at the time you were driving. So here's my point. It sounds funny to say this, it's kind of strange to say this, but the government's ability to go back in time and try to create this fuzzy math depends many times entirely upon the evidence or the answers to the questions you may have provided to the question, what time was your last drink? Okay, question 2. Video's getting long, I'll try to hurry up here. Question number 2, they're gonna ask you, how much did you have to drink? Now, why would they ask that question? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, the main thing they want to do is they want you to admit that you were drinking, okay? They want you to say, yes, I've been drinking. And then sometimes they'll get people that'll say, I drank 10 drinks. They want to make you appear to be intoxicated, or at least make it appear to be that you're incriminating yourself about how much maybe you've had to drink. Now here's the other thing. They do that as well because they're hoping you'll give a small amount of alcohol that would be inconsistent with your blood alcohol level, so that way they can try to have a prosecutor get up there in a trial and try to say that you lied to the police officer, try to disparage you. So that's the main reason, okay? Now here's the thing. I promised you that if you watch this video, until the very end, I would give you a resource that would answer nearly every question you might ever have regarding your DWI defense. Now I want you to click on the link below, right below here. Click on the link right below and follow the prompts, and I will absolutely free, I will send you the ultimate guide to your DWI defense. The ultimate and definitive guide to your DWI defense. No cost, free as can be, because I want to at least equip you as someone who's been through a traumatic event already. I want to equip you with the knowledge of understanding how to get out in front of your DWI. And remember, if you need assistance, we'll be happy to help you at the Hampton Law Firm. Feel free to give us a call at 817-877-5200. Hope you have a great rest of your day.